today.
Welcome back, everybody. This is video from 2022 at the Shack when the University of Minnesota came up here for a game with North Dakota State. You're seeing one Amaya Battle score there, who was just a freshman then for a Minnesota Gopher team that the Bison actually beat that night. And there's still some pieces left, Battle being one of them, with the game winner on Sunday to send the Gophers off to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 21 years. The man who calls Gopher women's games, I got to meet JG in person that night. Justin Gaard joins us, getting ready to take the Big Bird to Sacramento for the Gopher game with UCLA. I thought of that, JG, after seeing the highlights. I was calling our own game when I saw Maya Battle hit the game winner. I'm like, she was great that night in Fargo, and she stuck it out. I know you mentioned it on your broadcast. Her, Mara Braun were part of that amazing class with Lindsay Whalen, and that's the ultimate payoff of what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, I remember that night as well, Dom. Good to be back with you. And Mara Braun didn't play that game, if I remember.
Correct.
She had a foot injury, not the one that would put her out for I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago. I'm getting old. But I remember my partner, Lynette Showquist, thought I was like the biggest celebrity in the world because I had you coming up to say hi to me. Jack Michaels came and sat by us. You know, we had everybody. All my Fargo broadcast buddies kept coming over and saying hi. She's like, who is this guy that I'm working with? Like, I'm huge. I'm huge in the Red River Valley. I don't know what to tell you. But, yeah, it does tell you. I've thought a lot about that, too. And that's the cool part about this team, just their progression, and it's rare. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Bison women's team kind of having the same thing going with players developing throughout the program, sticking around, and having a great season. So to have that payoff and that to be Amaya Battle's final shot at Williams Arena to send them to the Sweet 16 for the first time really since they were born, pretty cool. Cool stuff.
You're there. Give us the what it was like after that shot went in. Just it seemed like Williams Arena exploded.
Yeah, the pop is fun. That's what the kids say. The pop from the crowd when you hear it on all the highlights. And I've been telling this, and you probably can appreciate this. Like, I don't think I got to enjoy it as much. I have a great picture of my family that I'll send you. They are a complete mess. They happen to be sitting on the baseline there right in front of where Amaya shot. And two of my sons, my daughters, we can't even find her in the screen. My wife, it looks insane, and so does my dad. But you know this, like, I'm trying not to, throw up on myself and make sure that we get all the particulars, let everybody know there was still time on the clock. That's the one regret.
Yeah.
Like, you want to send them off. It's just an epic deal. There's still 0.8 seconds left, and they actually, Ole Miss got a really good shot and almost made it. But I tried as the weekend went along, and I've heard a lot of my Big Ten brethren. I did a podcast with some of them yesterday because the crowds all over the country have been awesome.
Great. Yep.
Michigan had a great crowd. UCLA had a great crowd. Even like the level above, Iowa City, we know always has a great crowd. We all tried to take it in as much as we could because it's just so cool to be in that mix and to feel what the crowd is feeling. And it was, even on Friday afternoon, Ole Miss is playing Gonzaga. They played at 2:30. The Gophers played Green Bay at 5. As I'm walking in at 1 o'clock, there's already a couple thousand Gopher fans just hanging around and being ready to go. So the NCAA tournament just brought a different level of intensity and energy and emotion and fandom. And so I tried to take it in. I tried to take the headset off as much as I could because I just wanted to feel it. And everybody watching has probably been to Williams Arena at least once, right? It's a 98-year-old building. So I think everybody at some point knows what it was, whether it's a state tournament, whether it's when you came down to watch the Bison play or North Dakota, whatever. So I think everybody kind of has a perspective of what that building can be at its best, and it was at its absolute best on Sunday, certainly on Sunday, but on Friday too.
It was fantastic and after, because I heard a lot of noise up this part of the world, JG, like, why is the boys tournament being pushed back and all this, and the Gophers go and then do what they did and just makes it, to me, I would push the high school boys season even later anyway, so you don't have to worry about it, frankly, because the Gophers might be doing this a heck of a lot more over the next few years.
Well, yeah, here's what I'll say, because we've heard that a lot, too, from people like, well, you're getting into spring breaks. I'm like, well, everybody has spring break. The whole month of February is spring break. So you're going to be mad at somebody.
Correct.
Like, somebody's going to be mad. And the other thing is, the school is under no obligation to just roll out the carpet to the high school league. As much as I love it there, I think it should always be there. I just did the women's tournament there, girls tournament there a couple weeks ago. It was incredible.
Yep.
I love that it all funnels into the barn. I think that's where they all should go. And truthfully, it's a good story that they wanted to host and they thought that would be an opportunity. And that's true. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that they had to be on the road the last 2 years for the WNIT and the WBIT. So it was any hosting. Like, this obviously worked out perfect. And now you can say, we knew it all along. We were going to do it. And I did think they had a good chance to host. I was talking about it since January. If they continued to win and won a couple of games, they should have. Yep. That got a lot of momentum, really not until the last week of the season. Nobody would believe me. I'm like, they're going to host if they win these games. Just look at the numbers. Yep. It's going to work out that way. But I can tell you that the first kernel of the state tournament being moved around a little bit, it was either on a bus in Toledo, Ohio, or Springfield, Missouri, as we were tracking the WBIT last year. That's because they couldn't host until the quarterfinals when they played Gonzaga. And I think even the game against NDSU a couple years ago in the WNIT, that was the last game they hosted there. So whatever tournament, they should have the ability to have their own building.
Right, it's their place. Right, it's their ball. It's their place to play. They should have the right to. Frankly, I mean, maybe better than I do. I think after I visited with the Stefanowicz family from Minnetonka after they loved Williams Arena. I said, would you prefer Target Center? And they said no. There was that game between, it was Wayzata and Minnetonka a couple years ago in the state championship. It was packed, Guardsy. So I think there's more people that want to play at Williams Arena than they do Target Center anymore.
I think that went away for a long time, and that actually probably hurt the Williams Arena perception for a while, frankly, because going back to, and there's been some games at Target Center this week, obviously, and there will be moving forward. But yeah, it's great because if you get 8,000-9,000 people in there, even if you get 5, it just sounds different. And I'm old enough to go to state tournament games when I was a kid. I told you before we started, I watched Max Iverson's dad playing a state tournament. That was actually back at the St. Paul Civic Center years ago. I think it was the Civic Center. Yeah, it would have had to have been. That's how old I am. I don't think it would have been the X. But, yeah, the barn, it's great that we can have the state tournaments there. I think we should always make accommodations for it. But there does have to be some give and take.
All right, who matches up with Lauren Betts on Friday night?
It's a heck of a question. Nobody knows. I mean, nobody has for 2 years.
Yeah, right.
It's been interesting. I've been telling this story. And really, they played them twice in the last 2 years. Once was out at Pauley last year, and the Gophers did everything they could to limit Lauren Betts, which I think is a sound strategy. However, it just opens it up for everybody else, and you're basically hoping nobody else makes shots when you do that. And they have so many players that can make shots, including Gianna Neepkins from Duluth, who played at Utah for 4 years and then just transferred there. She's been a big piece for them. And then this year, about a week after when Gophers were playing in Iowa City, we're courtside there, and Jan Jensen and Don Plitzowite were talking, and Iowa had just gotten off the West Coast road trip. Minnesota had just played the California schools at the barn 2 weeks before that. And Jan Jensen was talking to Don and saying, gosh, you guys just played UCLA so well. Like, we had so many problems with them. I'm so impressed with how you guys played them. The Gophers still lost by 18. Like, I agree with what Jan is saying, that the Gophers played them well, and it was a good competitive game. Then you look up, we're down 18. Okay, that's just UCLA. It's one of those teams that I remember Saul Phillips always used to say when NDSU would play a Power 5 school or a big school, there's like 10 plays. I can't say what he would say, but there's 10 oh crap plays where there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
Where you do everything right, you're in the right position, you know the play, you've gotten your guy to the spot they're supposed to be, and Cole Aldrich is still going to dunk at the Dome. Like, there's nothing you can do. UCLA has some of that. Betts is obviously great. I actually think their point guard, Kiki Rice, who was really their first big recruit a few years ago, she's an All-American, and she's going to be in the WNBA, but I feel like she's just underrated because you never hear about her as much as some of the others. And she's one of those guards that just gets them where they need to go, never makes a mistake, great defender. So I've been saying you can't fake your way into an Elite Eight. You're going to run into somebody. You can't fake your way into a Sweet 16. You're going to run into somebody. So what a cool opportunity, though, to go out there and have this game on a Friday night.
What are you hearing, Gopher fan-wise, of making their way to Sacramento?
I don't know. I know that the people that usually put together the charters, and the first one sold out. Now, that's not a whole plane. That's not like they grabbed a 180-seater and said, we're going.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, it's not the greatest experience flying at the moment.
Nope.
Number one, in security, although it's good here in MSP.
That's what I hear.
Number two, everything's just so expensive. Like, first thing my family said to me, Dom, after I went down to the court after the game was, "We have to go to Sacramento." I said, "Well, then get on Venmo and get some money, because this is not going to work. We can't do it." So I think it'll be solid. I don't think it'll be taken over. The whatever they called the building, the old Cow Palace. I don't think they'll be taking it over, but I know a good portion of the crowd that made it to the barn on Wednesday this last weekend was certainly thinking about going. But Sacramento, not the easiest place to get to in the world.
No.
So we'll do our best.
I have to tap into your Wolves fandom here for a minute. It looks like Shams was reporting that the NBA signed off, it looks like, on exploring to give Seattle and Vegas expansion franchises. Does that mean we can start now the campaign to get the Wolves to the Eastern Conference? Are you in favor of that?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, the campaign that's been going on since Kevin Garnett played here, right? Because the West has always been such a bear. It's
correct.
Just always – and obviously things ebb and flow. And that, I think, is the next logical step. I do think when Shams originally kind of reported that a week or so ago, I think the follow-up was there are going to be some teams moving.
Yeah.
And then that my favorite thing when this happens now is everybody becomes Lewis and Clark in terms of the map. They're like, well, who's further east? It should be Memphis and it should be New Orleans. Minnesota's west. Never mind that they're like 10 minutes from Milwaukee, Chicago, and Detroit, and it's like the perfect cluster for a division. But everybody gets out their Rand McNally map and starts going down the list on how far things are. It's like, guys, this is too easy. Everything clusters right here.
Right.
It would be great. I know, obviously, they'd love it. I know. The Wild even loved when, they used to be in the Northwest Division for hockey.
Oh,
and that meant they were going out to Vancouver and Calgary and Denver, like your closest. So when they moved into the Central, playing Chicago, playing St. Louis, playing Dallas.
Nashville.
It's much easier in terms of the travel. So I think you will see that for sure. And I think that makes sense. And I think both those cities make sense to expand to. I think it's going to be great for the league. That's been the worst kept secret in the last decade, that Seattle was going to get a team back and everybody's going to Vegas now. So, yeah, that will be nice. And selfishly, I love all the 6:00 start times on the East Coast because Dan and I will be out earlier. We'll be out 30 minutes earlier, and I'll get to have dinner with my family more nights than I have right now.
That's all it's about. It's about us. There's no doubt.
Correct. Everybody's worried about how it affects our lives.
Last time you were on, I believe we were in the middle of the Spud to Gopher train, and then it became complete that Jet Feeney from Moorhead completed the trifecta. So give us the reaction for Gopher football fans. They got all three of the Spud standouts.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, and I even texted you that day because it was that day that he committed, right?
Yes.
We were talking about it. I said we should have pushed this back a day. Yeah, same deal as last time. I love it. I mean, there are no hidden secrets anymore in the world of recruiting. I like the fact that the schools are emphasizing the entire state now and able to find the entire state and go to the entire state. And it's cool to come down to the cities and come play. So I always love it. In general, I think the in-state recruiting thing gets totally overblown. I'm sure I've joked with you on that. Like, good players are good players. If you can get them to come, figure it out. But if you have good players in your state, driving distance, like, I just see the difference it makes, for the women's basketball team to have all these, parents within 30 or 45 minutes to come and watch. In some cases, it's 15, like, to be able to come watch their kid play every single game. I do know that makes a difference, and I do know the current parents are selling the future parents on that same thing. You get to come watch every game. And with football, to be, 3 hours and change away, to be able to come down and watch every home game that's who you should be targeting, in my opinion.
Last thing for you, and this, we had Cody Braun from Minnetonka committed to play football at North Dakota State yesterday for next year. And I asked him, and I tap into your Edina roots here, who's Minnetonka's biggest rival? He said Edina. I wasn't sure if it would be Eden Prairie or Maple Grove or now Moorhead, because Moorhead has the hockey thing with Minnetonka, and obviously
they do.
They're going to come up here. So can you explain that in that cluster of how the rivalries work for those schools?
Yeah, I'll do my best. It definitely changes. It definitely depends on the sport.
Okay.
Because historically, Minnetonka and Hopkins would be the biggest rivals.
Okay.
For basketball, I think that's still the case. Although Wayzata now has jumped in. They were upset yesterday. One of the biggest upsets we've seen around here. I think it depends on the sport for sure. But Hopkins and Minnetonka, we're basically like on my street where I am right now, like as I look left, that's the Hopkins school district. As I look right, that's the Minnetonka school district. So like everybody is kind of commingled and they all grow up together doing stuff. Yeah. So I would say, but Hopkins football has not been as good. Like Edina football, they just won the state championship, which for a kid of the 90s seems impossible. Speaking of Max Iverson, his dad, Ryan Iverson, unbelievable football player, was going to go play football at the U before he went to go play basketball in Delaware. So many good Edina football teams went to Eden Prairie to die. Like that, it just... I would have said Edina and Eden Prairie were rivals back then. John Schemmel, athletic director at South Dakota now. Youth legend, Eden Prairie High School. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that answered it. It depends on the sport. I'll trust the kids that are there now for football. Edina and Minnetonka probably had a pretty good battle the last few years, but it changes as we go. Hockey is a totally different thing. Yes. Football, basketball, swimming, Edina and Minnetonka are big rivals. It's nuts. It's nuts. They all hate each other. Yes. And then you'll play in an all-star game like in the spring, and you go, why do I hate this guy so much? This is a good dude.
He's really good, right?
Yeah, I like this guy. I could see myself hanging out with this guy. We're all the same.
Gaardsy, this was awesome, bud. I know you're super busy. Safe travels out there. Have a great call on Friday night. We'll be listening, okay?
Anytime. I appreciate it,
Good
Tom.
to see you, bud. There he goes. JG, Justin Gaard from KFAN joining us. Gophers will play UCLA Friday night, 6:30 in Sacramento in the Sweet 16. The winner gets a spot in the Elite Eight. You have to remind yourself, those are conference rivals between Minnesota and UCLA. We'll take our final break of hour one. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. Big second-hour plan. We'll head to Henning as the Hornets are heading down to Minneapolis for the state basketball tournament. Hot Mike on a Wednesday rolls on. We're back after this.